The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
You know, I'm not used to a sunny, sunshine-filled Silverstone, but I'll take it here because when you're going to put together GTPs and GT3s, Pro and AMs together on track, give them a quick 60-minute run here around Silverstone, and produce plenty of action here in Elbows Out Racing League, it comes with a good time. This track that, of course, is famously flat and started out from an air base is the site of many a run here in sports car and competitive racing in series such as Formula One, name it, it's probably raced here. I've seen MX-5s race here. There's plenty of action to be found at Silverstone. It's a historic British track, well known for the culture of motorsport. But tonight, Elbows Out Racing is going to take on 60 minutes of this Silverstone circuit, and we'll see in the end of 60 minutes who can come out ahead. I want to welcome everybody here to PTR TV and joining us for Elbows Out here for 60 minutes. Be sure to like and subscribe here on YouTube. We're on the chase for 1,600 subscribers, and we're about 20 away from getting there, and you could certainly help us get in place today. It's going to be myself, Brad Dalton, in the booth here tonight, along with Patrick Coleman joining me yet again. Patrick, good evening, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you, Brad. And like you said, yes, Silverstone's a fun venue. Famously flat track, like you said. It's been around since 1948, or the current layout, what we're racing on today, has been around since 2011. It brings out good racing. Pretty much, you can slap any car on here, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's got to be a lot of competition. Lots of good overtaking opportunities, and yeah, I can't wait to see what these next 60 minutes hold for these drivers.
I think the next 60 minutes are going to be a lot of fun here to go around as we start getting qualifying sessions underway. 10-minute qualifying session or 2 laps from every driver. We'll see who's able to produce and who is a little bit behind the 8 ball on this run, who has the fish and chips, and well, in the end, who is going to be left wishing. I was talking with the drivers earlier. I was hanging out kind of in the pre-race lobby and just chilling with the guys while they were running through, and they wanted me to talk in a British accent. And do you know what I told them? I told them there's absolutely no way I'm talking in a British accent. So, Patrick, I'm going to invite you. Do you want to talk in a British accent tonight?
My British accent is probably the worst thing ever. I probably would offend every single British viewer that we have. So I'm going to pass on that for the sake, but I almost did tell you to try to do at least the intro in a British accent. I think that would have been funny, but I'll pass on that too. Thank you.
Well, we did, of course, just post the short of British one Mr. Corey Silva. So if you haven't seen that, be sure to go and check out that short. Shorts have been something fun, little side project for me here on the channel as we go through. Patrick, talking about the points here on the night, because I feel like we need to talk about points, especially now that we're 3 rounds in, going through. The driver scores are really kind of heating up. You've got Toppin that is currently leading the GTPs in a Porsche. That's that number 50 here of Matt Toppin, who is going to be putting in some pretty good circuits, pretty good runs here, and I'm kind of excited to see what Matt Toppin can bring here tonight if the Canadian can keep things moving here in the number 50.
Yeah, indeed. But something we also have to know too, his closest championship rival of Eric Mack, he's been in magnificent form here as of late, taking wins in the last 2 rounds. He's only about 3 points behind in that BMW, so he's going to be one to watch out for. But yeah, I agree. We have a lot of battles heating up here in the points, and even going down to the GT3 Pro category. Tyler Stenek and Ian Tanzius, Tanzius being a rookie driver actually here at Elbows iRacing, they're only separated by 2 points, with Stenek getting 56 points in that number 33 Mustang, and then the number 059 Porsche with 54 points. So things are heating up and down this grid, and today it's a beautiful track to see who could keep that championship lead or who could take it over.
Yeah, this is going to be a great one to watch here and see how things end up on the season. I'm really kind of excited, and I'm also excited because the drivers have given us a bit more of an insight as to how to pronounce their names. Some drivers have kind of yelled at me about not having their name pronounced perfectly on a broadcast, and well, I kind of told them, I said, hey, if you want the name pronounced right, then you get to tell me how to pronounce your name, and thankfully they have done that. So you'll hear some changes in pronunciations as the night goes on, since some drivers filled out the form for us, and a big shout out to those that did. That way we can make sure that we give them the name pronunciation they deserve. Kind of watching as these qualifying laps go in on the moment. Ian here has done a great job of getting things going. Ian Tanzius is doing a great job of just looking kind of nice and comfortable here early on, which I'm quite happy with, getting out and about in that number 059 Porsche 911. Of course, rocking the safety car livery, because why not? That's always a good option to do here. I think Ian is going to have a great time.
Yeah, he's certainly going to be motivated, especially being only 2 points away from being in the lead in the championship across the entirety of the GT3 category, both Pro and Am. So it's going to be really imperative for Tanzius to really get the ball rolling here. He's got to drive perfectly. He's got to be consistent, be competitive, but also try not to bring out any safety cars, despite being a safety car himself. He needs to drive with the same safety that his livery exhibits.
This is going to be a funny one to kind of watch and see how things go. So try to get a camera here on some different drivers as they come through. So let's get the timing screen pulled up here. Drew Zario currently running on that front position. We saw last week a little bit of action happen up in the front of the field. If you do not recall, last week was a interesting end to the race. It kind of left me and Andre scratching our heads of exactly what happened. Of course, very, very good run through on last week, and it kind of we were left scratching our heads on how week 3 ended, but Drew Zario yielding the victory to Eric Mack in the end when it was all said and done, which I think may set him up for a good position this week.
Yeah, Drew Zario is definitely going to be wanting to get back, as the kids nowadays says. He wants to get redemption. He wants to actually get a win here this time around at Silverstone. He was so close when it came to Hockenheimring last week, and I know he's going to be hungry for that race win. But so is every other driver on this GTP grid, not even counting the GT3 cars. Every driver here is going to be super competitive. They're going to be super aggressive. They want a race win to bolster their championship potential. I mean, just because we talked about earlier with Toppin and Mack being only like 3 points apart, and then Stenek and Tanzius being only 2 points apart, every other driver is going to want to put their name in the hat when it comes to this championship battle in every category. So expect fireworks here today, especially from Drew Zario, who is going to really want that win after last week.
Yeah, I thought weather was going to be more of a factor this week, too, because rain was scheduled to be right before practice. But with the session carryover, with the gorgeous weather we have here in Silverstone, makes no difference, to be honest. So even though there was some rain, doesn't really make a difference on the night. Silverstone, of course, being British track that it is, I was really, really kind of hopeful for some chaos, for some rain, for just a little bit more. And, well, again, unfortunately, not getting that here tonight. So we'll kind of keep an eye on how things pan out as it goes through, but should be nice sunshiny weather as we showed there. 66 degrees Fahrenheit, 80-degree track temp, partly cloudy, 73% humidity, and a 16-mile-an-hour wind. And if we look at the history here for the last 15 minutes, that's right where it's been here. But of course, if you go back a little bit further and we look at, say, the last 30 minutes, we'll get that pulled up here for you. Well, you can see again, it's kind of fluctuated a little bit here and there, but we're still going to be dry all the way through the rest of the day.
Yeah, which is pretty weird for like Silverstone, because like the whole stereotype is that it's always raining in the UK, and then when we come here for Elbows Out Racing, it is perfect sunshine, very sunny. I'm sure the drivers aren't complaining one bit, because I mean the track is going to be absolutely perfect to drive on, as we are on board now with Patrick Rich in the number 45 Porsche, a driver in the GT3 Pro category here at Elbows Out Racing. But yeah, I mean, this track could get a bit slippery if it rains, so I'm sure the drivers are going to have absolutely zero complaints about it being dry. And I think we're going to get some really good racing here today as qualifying wraps up here.
That we are, and we're looking at about 35 drivers in on the night, and we're going to go ahead and get our full screen grid popped up here, and let's go ahead and get through that PTR TV starting lineup for the night here. And it is going to be, well, none other than Drew Zerio and Eric Mack front two here on the field. Zachary Nerney is going to be the number 31 in third, and Ben Bechtel in P4, Aiden Garcia in P5, and Matt Toppin in P6. Wyatt Kennedy in seventh, Dwight Hibbs in eighth, and Bob Carey ninth place in GTP. In GT3 Pros, Ian Tanzius in first, Ethan Murphy in second, Cody Perodato in P3, and then in fourth place, we of course are going to have Hunter Hoffman. It's Daniel Panero in P5 and Brian Metterly in P6. Trying to get these name pronunciations down and under pat. Tyler Stenick in P number 7, and then in P number 8 is Chris Stewart, Paul Nye Sr. in P9, and Martin Merkfa in P10, Patrick Rich in P11, and Colin Bourdon in P12. And then from there, we're going to go to the GT3 AM category as they stand. And well, kicking it out there is Lamart Pools. It is Pools, and then Nathan Hemperly in P2, Thomas Baker in P3, and then it is going to be Chapazio, Parker Chapazio in P4, Zach Tebow in P5, Seth Vosselman in P6. From there, it's Christian Cardona in P7, and then Christopher Ondera in P8, Lucas Blake in P9, Kyle O'Grady in P10, Joshua Perrin P11, Dwayne Hoffman in P12, Tyler O'Neill and Matthew Santosiero in P number 14. That rounds out our 35 car grid on the night here around Silverstone. And if this is your first time seeing the Elbows Out Racing League, well, here's the way it works. GTP is going to build up about a 5-second gap on GT3s, and then it is a 60-minute all-out race. Pitting for 4 tires is mandatory, and then the action, of course, will come underway. Question on the night becomes, who do you pick for the win? And, well, I'm not going to make a pick here, actually. I don't think making a pick is the best decision as they come through the final corners here and we get ready for green flag racing. Drew Zerio has control of the field in his BMW, but he's got the BMW of Eric Mack. Is it return of the Mack, or is it the Zerio Zero? And underway we go. Drew Zerio in the lead with GTPs. Eric Mack, Zach Nerney going through, and they are going to go single file here through turn 1. But back in the background, Ian Tanzius very quickly off to the start in GT3 Pros. And look at this side-by-side as Perodato and Hoffman very early on, or Hoffman and Panero very early on side-by-side. But GT3s will kind of sort this thing out here on the race start, get things going, and we will get this race green flag for 60 minutes.
Indeed, yeah, and it looks like the front runners of Drew Zerio and Ian Tanzius got really good runs up the line, and there's a GTP off in the background. That is that's Benjamin Bechtel going off there, and oh, that is looks like he might have a good amount of damage, kicking up a lot of dirt. Dwight Hibbs was also involved in that incident. Curious to see what happened there. I mean, maybe the two cars just got a little too close, and we got a bit of contact. There's some of the GT cars here battling it out now, jockeying for position here. It is a very fun track to race on, very good track to get some overtakes on as they go through the left field corners. This is the battle for 8th in GT3 Pro with Patrick Rich and Martin Merkva trying to battle it out here for 8th, and there's a lot of cars here gonna try to jockey for a position here in the early stages of the race. It is Mustang v Corvette. Battle the Americans here for P7. Now P7. Now Tyler Stenick and Patrick Rich, the championship leader in GT3. Tyler Stenick is trying to hold off Patrick Rich. Patrick Rich is gonna try to look for a position here, and I mean, it's been a pretty clean start to the race aside from the issue between the two GTPs earlier.
Yeah, it has been a pretty clean start here from what I'm seeing. I don't see anything too detrimental really catching my attention here early on, which is always a good sign whenever there's not absolute pure chaos right on a race start. This battle right here, though, Tyler Stenick now catching up to, or now battling it out with Chris Stewart, I believe. Actually, no, still not Chris Stewart. We'll get an idea of who Tyler's battling. Tyler is battling that 06. What is that, actually?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the AM. That's why I'm confused. Okay, that's Joshua Perrin that he's battling. I was like, okay, no, this is not a battle in class, but it is a battle for position on track. That's what was throwing me off. Is, the pros and the AMs have already mixed it up pretty well here. This is the battle for P24 overall on track. As I see Zach Tebow has, well, he's Tim Tebow'd it off.
Yeah, he looks like he went a bit wide there, and also, yeah, the Porsche of Zach Tebow something must have happened. I think he did collide with a Corvette because I saw a Corvette off as well. He's going to try to reinsert himself into this pack here. He'll pop ahead of the number 515 Lamborghini Huracan of Chris Stewart, and now he's going to try to chase down the other Porsche of Lamar Pools. So it's going to be really interesting as Dwight Hibbs in that 963 is just going to go ahead and slingshot off past these GT3s. A good battle here between Zach Tebow as Chris Stewart does make the pass onto the number 10 Porsche. Now he's going to try to chase down another Porsche up ahead. As much as he would like to get ahead of Dwight Hibbs, he's going to be more realistically targeting Lamar Pools for that number, or for the P29 on track, which would I think be P30 by the time Dwight Hibbs, who is kind of phasing in and out of our reality here momentarily on screen. But yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff here going on as we see a pretty big battle here in the GTP class between Bob Carey and Benjamin Bechtel. It is Cadillac versus BMW here for 7th in the GTP category and overall. Two cars are pretty close, but yeah, it's been a pretty good start here. Eric Mack, though, is still pretty close to the front runner. He is only a second off, but man, it looks like these front two have really pulled off a nice gap to Aiden Garcia there.
That they have. They've taken off very quickly. We're going to get a quick PTR TV replay. Let's go back and check out some of this turn one, lap one incidents that have happened here. So we did miss a bit of a kerfuffle back in the back here with the GT3s. So this is going to be Chris Stewart we're following, and Chris Stewart and Tyler Stenick getting together there, spinning around, and well, you see very quickly that the McLaren had to take some avoiding action. Looks like there was also a moment here with Martin Merkva. That was Martin Merkva that was avoiding in the background. Colin Bourdon had a moment as well. Let's see if we can dial that one up really quick and see what happened with Colin. I don't see anything that really is catching my attention of what should have happened. See if we can find here. So Paul Nye having a moment. This is going to be with Paul Nye. That's out of the final corner, and that was right on the race start. Paul Nye getting sent around. We'll get one more, a little bit better of an angle on that. We'll drop that back a little bit further here, and you can see trying to go around the outside, 3 wide, down into the old pitch straight out of Luffield and Woodcote. Not a good decision. Dwight Hibbs here has had a moment as well. This was what we saw in the background on the race start. Dwight Hibbs just kind of lost it and dropped the rear end. Ben Bechtel then had his own moment. This is coming out of Chapel and lost it on his own as well. Just cold tires not working out. Zach Nerney has had a moment as well. GTPs again, cold tires. Just a quick little spin there down the old pit straight, able to get away with it and get back out onto Woodcote. Zach Tebow having a moment. Cold tires in the Porsche spinning around here, and some things that we've missed while we were in. Well, this is Hunter Hoffman and Brian Materrell that have had moments. What has happened with Hunter Hoffman? Well, that's Hunter Hoffman bumping the back of someone and then getting collected. So that is something we missed in the background, and Hunter Hoffman having to tow to the pits completely. Trevor O'Neill has had a moment here, and that's a big snap out of Chapel and down the straight. Oh, man, not at all what you want to see there from him, but that is going to get us back into live pictures. And well, we're still following Trevor here at the moment, way back in the back, going out. But here in the front, Patrick, it is still second verse, same as the first, as Zario leads Eric Mack by about 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, these BMWs are having a really good time around this track here. Yeah, it's now a 10-second gap between Eric Mack and Adon Garcia. So it's, I mean, these two drivers are really kicking in high gear. I know that BMW is very powerful when it comes to straight lines, and there's no shortages of them on the circuit. You got the Hanger straight, you got the Hamilton straight, Wellington straight, you name it. There's so many different straights on this track. And these two have also just kind of avoided contact with each other, which I think is the important thing, because you can make a very ambitious move, but you have to get through without colliding with someone or getting collected. Like, I mean, we saw earlier that while there's certainly more effective ways to do weight reduction than getting your front bumper knocked off, not exactly an ideal start for some of these drivers, but for Drew Zario and Eric Mack, it's been a really good start for them. Same with Ethan Murphy and Cody Perodato here. It is the the second place, number 26 Porsche of Ethan Murphy, and then the number 51 Lamborghini of Cody Perodato. Battling it out now. This is for second place in the GT3 category. And I mean, Ian has also had a really good start here. And if he keeps it up at this point, he will take that championship lead off of Tyler Stenek.
This is going to be a very, very hard fought battle. I'm jumping back a little bit here. Dwayne Hoffman currently leads an absolute gaggle of cars behind him here. Starting out with Brian behind. From there, it's Martin Merkfa. From there, it is Joshua Perrin. It's Chris Stewart. It's Patrick Rich. And it's Zach Tebow in the background going around as ahead. Martin Merkfa putting in the pressure here. Let's go side by side with a car with no front bumper and just see how we hang out here, because that can never go wrong, right? Cody Perodato, and man, look at this. Materrell just having a time side by side still. Who would think a front bumper would be the fastest way to go around? But for somebody, it certainly is. Look at this down into turn one.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I joked about weight reduction earlier. I guess it's paying off. He's missing a rear bumper too, as he gets really close to that Corvette up ahead. Oh, he's gonna make a dive for the inside. The number 46 Corvette is gonna make a send. He had it for a little bit there, but Martin Merkva is gonna keep that position, and actually Brian Murderly is actually gonna lose and position himself to Joshua Perrin in the number 069 Porsche. And this is a battle here. Lots of cars battling it out, jockeying for a position here. This includes cars from GT3 Pro and the AM categories. Oh, and there's a big smack there. Up to Joshua Perrin from Brian Murderly there, and that is unfortunate stuff there. It looks like even more contact, and there's a spin in the backfield. I think that was Joshua Perrin getting sent on the merry-go-round.
That was
unfortunate stuff there.
Side by side in the cops corner, we're going to go here with Chris Stewart and Brian Materrell. How is this going to go? Well, they keep it nice and tidy with that Lamborghini. I mean, if you're a driver at this point, this is just making you mad that you are stuck behind a car completely missing a front bumper as you go side by side through Maggots and Beckett's and go down into Maggots and Beckett's. You're looking for the pass, come out of Chapel here, and then absolutely sling it down the Hanger straight. I mean, at this point, it's just frustrating. You want the pass, you want to get through, and you just can't. Further up ahead, it is going to be, let's make sure who this is here. It's Daniel Panero, and then it is Chipazio, Parker Chipazio here, and the number 25. They are battling it out behind them. Ondera and Stenek are battling it out, but you still have a good battle going on here. As you have Kyle O'Grady, Christian Cardona, Lucas Blake, and Dwayne Hoffman that are also very close in gaps. And of course, behind them is, well, Martin, who is pushing things through. Chris Stewart, Brian Materrell, again, with still no front bumper, but Chris Stewart has managed to get that Lamborghini by.
Yeah, I'm sure he is going to be happy about that. Like you said, I mean, it must have been super frustrating seeing that car that's basically held together by goodwill and duct tape at this point, and just blocking you off, preventing you from trying to chase up some of these cars up ahead. He got that number 515 Lamborghini up into another position. He's going to now go after the McLaren that is held together by a little bit more than some duct tape and some elbow grease. The number 32 McLaren of Martin Merkva, it'd be for P6 in the GT3 Pro category. And yeah, I'm sure he's got to get that pass done, but he's not going to be satisfied. And oh, it looks like Martin Merkva got really close there to the Mustang of Dwayne Hoffman there. And it looks like Brian Murderly is going to have us. Look, he is super close to the back of that McLaren. He's going to try to get him around the outside here, going into the Maggots and Beckett's corners here. He's not going to quite get the pass done yet, but Murderly is just putting pedal to the metal. I mean, he's making that McLaren drive like it is all together in one piece. I mean, really impressive stuff there from the number 46.
How does he have so much pace with no front bumper is what I want to know. Like, is that just... That's insane is what that is. And as they come through Maggots and Beckett's here and hand out a Chapel into the hangar straight yet again, these GT3s are keeping things single file. Cody Perodato here up front in the Lamborghini, one of the other Lamborghinis on the field, giving absolute heck to Ethan Murphy here, trying to battle through. Gonna look for a dive into turn one. Is there a move to be made through Abbey Farm Curve? There's not, but into Village in the loop, you can get a good run out of Aintree into the Wellington Straight. Is this going to be the case? Well, at the moment, I think the answer to that is not really. He's just trying to set things up. He's got some pace in that Lamborghini, but it just seems like right now, maybe not enough to be found here as he comes through now out of Aintree and the loop, and now down the Wellington Straight we go and head towards Brooklands and left field. Think about a dive into Brooklands. Think about a dive into Brooklands. Think twice about your dive into Brooklands.
Yeah, I mean, he could have made a dive there, but you still got like 47 minutes, or a little less than 47 minutes left to go in this race. So there's still a good amount of racing left to go. And you really don't want to hurt your chances before they've really had a chance to take off. So, I mean, it's good discipline and good restraint, because I'm sure there's going to be a better opportunity to make that move stick. It looks like Corvette's taking a very optimistic line here. This is the battle for 8th between Lucas Blake. And oh, there's a lot of contact there. Corvette coming together at the very end region, and he collects the BMW.
That's Drew Zerio.
That's the race leader. And Eric Mack is going to say thank you very much. But Drew Zerio is definitely not a happy camper at this stage of the race. That was a very unsafe rejoin there.
Now, remember last week, Drew Zerio benefited from Eric Mack getting caught in traffic with about 10 minutes to go. Is there going to be a favor repaid in this race? I don't know, but goodness gracious me, we have to go back and get a replay of that one. Let's go back here really quick, because that was Kyle O'Grady, that was Lucas Blake, that was Dwayne Hoffman, Drew Zerio, Eric Mack even was involved in this. So let's go back, because I'm going to start with the onboard of Eric Mack and just kind of show you what we were looking at here, what he was looking at. So we're going to hop on with the helmet cam, and I'm going to actually slow this one down. I don't normally do half speeds, but we're going to do a half speed replay for this one. So look at the gaggle of cars ahead. Look at the absolute chaos ahead of him here as he goes through, and he's trying to find some sort of a pass to get through. He takes a little bit of a bump there, runs wide, is going to kick it back to the inside. Now to the outside there to the left, that's the race leader, and he just has to kind of send it inside, get the pass done, and go. We're going to go back one more time. Let's get the perspective here of Eric Mack. We're going to go from the outside cam this time and look ahead. That's the gaggle ahead where Drew Zerio is trying to get through, and just, I mean, absolute chaos. Somehow Eric Mack found it, but here's Zerio's view of it. So this is where Zerio, I think, is really going to be mad, because he's through, he's around, he's going. And I mean, if you're Zerio, just out of nowhere, he gets clobbered. So one more perspective from the outside here, get an idea of how this happened. Again, you've got that big battle, the checkup, and then whoever that was just completely lost it. don't know if that was Chris Stewart was in there. Trevor O'Neill was not it. Kyle O'Grady, I believe, is who we are looking at. And he just goes off in the grass. I mean, that's just not a great move from him to try to make that pass there, Patrick. It was never going to work from the start. I don't know what the thought was of going all the way in the grass, but unfortunately that is what he did. And well, it caused him to just, collect multiple cars in that, including our overall race leader when it was said and done.
Yeah, and as much as some people may want to say, Lucas Blake had an unsafe rejoin, I think, no matter how hard he pressed the brakes on that Corvette, I think it was just inevitable. He just had so much momentum from that contact with Kyle O'Grady, and you really got a feel for Drew Zerio. Once again, a race lead or a race win could have been in his hands, but just unfortunately, just some outside circumstance just prevents that from being the case, and it's just really unfortunate there. But we may see one of the greatest comebacks we've seen all season from Drew Zerio if he can go in and make the recovery drive as he slingshots past the accurate NSX there, just getting through the lap traffic. He's gonna be pretty fired up, to put it lightly. He's gonna want to regain as many positions as humanly possible, and he wants to go ahead and charge back up to take Eric Mack and make sure he doesn't get that three-peat. But another man who's gonna really wish that Eric Mack wasn't super far ahead is Matt Topman, the current championship leader in GTP. There's only 3 points that separates the two, and Topman is not in the ideal spot if he wants to retain that championship lead here.
Not at all, but he should be able to kind of work his way through. I think consistency is going to be the key for him there. So we've got drivers going through the pits, going in and out of the pits. We still have gaggles of cars everywhere we want to look. So it's just not done. Paul Nye here. I feel for Paul. Paul's a quick driver, but right now he is right side by side with Patrick Rich, trying to find a move here down into the Brooklands and Luffield complex. And look at that. They both run more than wide. I didn't know that Corvettes were lawnmowers. I know McLaren makes a lawnmower, but doggone, the Corvette mowing grass too? That's impressive as they come through out of Woodcote now and Luffield, heading down the old pit straight toward Cops Corner. Is he going to go for a side-by-side move here? I would say not. Follow through in Cops Corner. Great move there, and keep things moving and grooving. I want to jump back up with Pinero here because Pinero has Stinek right on his tail by about 1/10 of a second down the Wellington Straight, and into Stowe they go. And, try to stow it away here because you've got cars behind GTP's faster traffic approaching, and you've got to be very, very mindful of that, leaving plenty of room through the final turns, heading down towards the Hamilton Straight. Great move there from all involved, and now we go for another lap. But look at that, Stinek trying to get a follow through, trying to get a pass through, and it looks like we'll be hanging out right on that rear bumper to the inside into turn one. Can he get the pass done? Well, I certainly think he can. Side by side, inside turns to the outside through Aintree and Village, and now we go towards the loop. Mind the GTP behind. That is Zach Nerney going through, and Stinek will have to cede the position for now.
Yeah, and a little bit of a little love tap there from the Mustang onto Zach Nerney there. We also saw last week at the Hockenheim ring where some of these prototype cars just have been kind of struggling to get through traffic here, and driving through traffic in the real world, just like going to and from your jobs, and especially on the racetrack here in multi-class racing, it's a skill in and of itself. And especially if you're these GTP cars, traffic navigation is a very vital skill here, as we see the battle here for P10 in the GTP Pro or GT3 Pro class between Patrick Rich and, this is the battle for P10 now of Ian Tantius.
Oh, there we go. Now it's right. It's Patrick Rich and Paul Nye that are battling here side by side, but for some reason, I can't get the overlay to cooperate.
We love when overlays decide to not cooperate, but some of these drivers are cooperating on track for the most part. We've had a few interesting moments here as we see the BMW of, I believe that's Bob Carey, just ready to send it on these GT3 cars. But once again, we saw that some drivers and the GTP cars have been better at navigating traffic than others, and I think that's really going to play a very vital role in how this race plays out for those GTP cars. and even some of the GT3 cars as well, because we saw in Portimao where there was an overtake attempt onto the or trying to get clear of those GT3 cars, ended up colliding with several GT3 cars and kind of just ruined his race as well as their race as well. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how this race plays out, especially as that clock ticks down.
That it is. I do want to check in here up front. Drew Zario has dropped 7.7 seconds back on our race leader. Eric Mack is losing a lot of time there. Your current GT3 Pro leader, Ian Tanzius, with Ethan Murphy behind. The safety car, of course, leading the most laps on the field for the night. But not far behind them is Nathan Hemperly and Thomas Baker. This is the two GT3 AM leaders battling it out here. Daniel Pinero and Tyler Stenick are currently battling it out for P4 in the GT3 Pro category, separated by half a second. The field has gotten really competitive here. There's lots of mixed class battles in the GT3s as they stand. So I'm enjoying watching this as they go. They're giving each other a good run, and you just kind of have to watch and see where things land when it's all said and done.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it's pretty much, it's going to be a race of attrition. Because, I mean, you still have 38 minutes left to go of this race here, and man, it feels like time's flying by as fast as these cars are here on this track. And seeing some cars take that curve very wide. I know you're talking earlier about Corvettes making lawnmowers. Apparently just Corvettes are taking some IndyCar lines, as we see a penalty for Patrick Rich here. We'll wait and see what that is for, but it is a penalty there for Patrick Rich, which is very, very unfortunate. The number 45 car, currently who is in P10 in the GT3 Pro class, P28 overall. Yeah, just wonder what that penalty was for. We didn't get any information about it, unless something came up on your end.
Track limits is what I believe it was for, but I have no official confirmation, so... but that is what I'm going to guess based on what I'm seeing here with everything. So not ideal to be not even halfway through the race and be hitting an incident limit situation. So, but it looks like that is where he's found himself. Not the best option to really look at. So for him, as he goes through, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that as it goes, as the battle continues and goes through. Currently, we're watching this battle for P4 in GTP between Nerney and Toppin as they head down towards Cops Corner and the Maggots and Beckett's out of the old pit straight. I got to ask the $1 million question here. Can Drew Zario get caught up to Eric Mack? The gap is now 10 seconds and continuing to grow lap after lap.
I would be very surprised if Zario didn't have some kind of damage on that BMW GTP car, because I mean he took a pretty nasty hit when that massive incident happened there. So I'm sure he's either A, trying to run a management race so he can try to get a overcut onto Eric Mack, or that BMW's got some damage that's really hindering him from trying to close that gap. That gap did close a little bit though, as we are still on board with this battle for P4. But I think Drew Zario, I mean, it's a tough one. It really just depends on how much damage that BMW has. Because if it's damaged, then yeah, it's going to be a tricky one. You probably have the same amount of odds as you would trying to win the Powerball.
You're not wrong there, as we hop on board with Matt Toppin and see the speeds that these GTPs can carry. I mean,
it's very impressive.
It's scary. Imagine doing 160 plus miles an hour through here. And now look at him. He's trying to set up the pass on Zach Nerney if he can. Zach with a little bit of wheel wiggle there out of the back straight. Continue along. Now they head down the Wellington straight as he goes. I mean, he's trying to find something here down the Wellington straight into Brooklands. Hard send on the brakes there, but that hard send on the brakes possibly going to cost him in a little bit of corner speed here through Brooklands, Luffield, Woodcote going through. But hey, he seems like he's got pace. It seems like Zach Nerney losing a little bit of time here. Pit stops have started to cycle in the GT3s. Of course, that mandatory pit stop for tires required. A few drivers have opted to do that several laps ago, pretty early on. But here in some sections, they have decided not to. And that's kind of the interesting spot for me as I look at it. I do want to look back at this GT3 category here, both Pro and AM. I'm going to pull them both up together as they're pretty mixed up here as it stands, but you can kind of get an idea of where things stand here. Ian Tanzius again in the lead with Ethan Murphy 12 seconds back, so Porsche versus Porsche there. And then, of course, Nathan Hemperly and Thomas Baker, Tyler Stenick and Daniel Panero currently battling it out. Here separated by a few seconds as they continue through. We'll see how this battle develops because it's started to open up a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how these battles kind of develop. And once again, we're just seeing that Corvette go wide, and Tyler Stenick is going to say, thank you very much. He's going to go and take that position. That Mustang stampeding away in P4, currently in his class, in the GT3 Pro class. Signified by that red number plate. If you guys are new here to Elbows Out Racing, also want to extend a massive welcome. If this is your first time here, we're glad you're tuning into this very amazing race here at Silverstone. And yeah, we have a lot of good battles up and down this field for these positions. So let's see if there's going to be a pass here. The number 23 Porsche of Lamar Pools trying to take on Dwayne Hoffman here. This would be a battle for P6 in the GT3 AM category. The two cars getting very, very close. And yep, there's a Corvette firing off into the pits here. And I mean, it's been a really, really competitive field here. But once again, going back to the race lead for GT3 Pro, Ian Tanzius is safely in a really good spot to win this race if he keeps up that consistency and avoids getting involved with any incidents here. But I mean, these two right here, this battle between Dwayne Hoffman and Lamar Pools is just, it's really fun to watch, as has every bit of racing here around this track.
Yeah, this is such a fun track to watch and kind of see how things go. These drivers, I always say Silverstone is a track that really shows the drivers that like Silverstone, and it really shows the drivers who don't like Silverstone. It's a very quick way to kind of learn which driver you are. And what driver are you right now, Matt Toppin? You're the driver that's bump drafted in a GTP. Not the move I recommend, but hey, the move that he is trying to pull off here as those battles continue along here. Again, this is the battle for P4 in GTP. Top three in GTP have separated out a lot as they go through, and we continue to watch their battle develop. This is still going to be mixed up with pit stops as we're approaching half race distance. So a couple of drivers that have caught my eye here on the day: Dwayne Hoffman up 6 places, Lamar Pools down 6 places from the start, Hunter Hoffman down 8 places on the start. Also, Patrick, want to give a shout out to Kyle O'Grady. Kyle O'Grady already has issued an apology in the Discord chat, said, tried to stay out of the way, went deep. Apologies for the traffic jam I caused, trying to stay straight the best I could to let traffic by, and it didn't work. So Kyle O'Grady already owning up for the driver error there that caused that massive pile up about 15-20 minutes into the race that we saw earlier.
Yeah, awesome job there from Kyle. I mean, sometimes things just happen, and I mean, drivers make mistakes. You have contact that you really wish you didn't have, and it's good on him showing that sportsmanship that we love to see here in motorsport, both in the real world and in the virtual world here. And so, very good on Kyle Grady. Much respect.
Very, very good run from him there as pit stops are underway here currently. So this is going to be things to really pay attention to as they go. Lamar Pools into the pits. Man, the drivers, I tell you what, I know that name pronunciation is hard, but these drivers, I mean, have grilled me one way or another about some of their names. And some of them I give them credit for, I really should have figured out. But some of them, y'all just have some interesting names. That's where I'm going to leave it at. So other thing I want to notice here, GTPs have started to pit in the PlayStation livery here is, of course, going to be our wonderful, wonderful Dwight Hibbs. And Dwight, you might have my favorite livery on the night. Just that classic PlayStation 1 look here. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm probably about to actually age some people in chat, and I do apologize. But I mean, I grew up on the PS2, and he looks like he's taking a bit of a trip down memory lane. Although unfortunately, it's not as sweet as memory lane because that is way outside on the track limits there. But I mean, I grew up as a kid on the PS2. Got into racing because I played the living daylights out of so many different Hot Wheels games on the PS2. So I will always be a PlayStation fan at heart. But yeah, I agree. That's easily one of the best liveries here on this field tonight. Although, I will say, every livery here is absolutely stellar, and I want to give a massive shout out to all the livery designers who have designed the liveries for these cars we're seeing here on track. Very beautiful.
Great job from all of them. It's it's a hard thing to do too. I don't know if you've ever actually tried to design a livery, upload it to Trading Paints and do stuff, but it is not the simplest thing to do. It actually can be pretty challenging. Matt Toppin's been in the pits in GTP here, so we still have pit stops underway. Plenty of pit stops still going. We'll get the notification here in the top right-hand side. We'll, of course, get Trevor O'Neill off of the timer there because Trevor O'Neill has been in for a while, but plenty of drivers still going in and out of the pits as they stand getting things underway and going. Of course, one mandatory pit stop required here in Elbows Out Racing to take 4 tires. And if you're a GTP, you absolutely hate your life when you know that you have to get off of those tires and get onto a brand new set of tires that are going to be ice cold, and you're basically driving on ice blocks the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, especially after the new update, in particular to the GTP tires and how long they take to get warmed up. I mean, a lot of these cars, and we saw it pretty early on too with Dwight Hibbs and I think a few of the other cars. I think Bechtel as well was also involved in a moment where he was basically like a cheetah on an ice rink, just sliding out, no kind of traction on those ice cold tires. So yeah, these drivers are really gonna make their outlap good enough to where they can warm those tires up, also not aggressive enough to where they slide off into the shadow realm and kind of ruin their race. Because I mean, when Eric Mack makes his pit stop, if he makes a mistake and just slides off into the ether, then Drew Zario could get that win that he really wants to have, especially because he got pole position here and almost had it last week.
Absolutely. GT3 Pro leader Ian Tanzius is into the pits here, along with Ethan Murphy back behind right there on the rear bumper. Daniel Panero is in as well. I feel like I'm saying his name wrong still. Panero. There we go. Daniel Panero, who gets the Panini at Panera, is in as well. So we'll see how that goes. Let's check in with Paul Nye, the donut guy here. No donuts on the night except for turn 1, lap 1. Paul Nye, the donut guy in the number 1, doing a pretty good job here, 0.6 of a second back off of Patrick Rich, trying to keep the battle moving and grooving back in the back. He's trying to claw his way up on position, and unfortunately, he's still down on the night. He's going to have to really fight to get things moving for him. Checking in with our GT3 Pro leading Lamborghini, Cody Perodato in the 51. Still needs to pit. Has a pretty decent gap, I would say, on Ian Tanzius. But I still think will come out behind, but he's going to be trying to challenge. Yeah, he'll come out behind by a bit. So we're seeing about 50 seconds to a pit stop here tonight.
Yeah, and that's something that drivers really got to take into account as well. And I mean, yeah, you're also going to lose a good amount of time on your first outlap just because, like we talked about earlier, those tires are going to be frigid. It's going to be like you just plopped them straight out of the oceans of Antarctica for the first lap or so, lap or two. So I mean, yeah, got these first seconds in those big. You're also going to lose a little bit of time just trying to get those tires in the optimal temperature window. And it's going to be really interesting to see how these pit stops play a factor in this race. Because I think it's going to really play a factor here. Because I mean, strategy is half the battle when you're racing, especially when it comes to having multi-class racing. If you're one of those GT cars, you got to try to figure out a time where you're not going to be stuck in Atlanta traffic, essentially, with how many GT cars you're going to have on you. You got to swim through. And so, yeah, it's going to be wild to see how these pit stops play into how this race ends.
Still got a few pit stops to carry. About a third of the field still needs to pit. on the night. So we'll pull that up actually here on the right hand side so you can see how long drivers have been out, how long their stints are currently going. So let's see here if we can get that pulled up for you accordingly, because that'll give you an idea of kind of what we're looking at on the night. So there you go. So race leader Eric Mack, Drew Zario, Aiden Garcia, Wyatt Kennedy still needs to pit, but you do still have several drivers that have been in and should be able to bring a challenge. Wyatt Kennedy now into the pits here, sending it in and around, and we'll see where Wyatt Kennedy lands out as we have battles still developing here. Dwayne Hoffman is in as well, so that should move through. Christian Cardona is into the pits. So plenty of battles developing as Matt Toppin is coming through right on the back of Bob Carey. Bob Carey will, it looks like, peel off right into the pits, and Matt Toppin will take over the 6th position. Matt Toppin, of course, has already pit and will run around through and keep it going. I will say, when these top 3 decide to pit, I mean, there's a good gap for them to pit into currently, because between Aiden Garcia and Zach Nerney is almost 60 seconds currently.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised we haven't actually seen these top drivers make a pit stop yet. Eric Mack, Drew Zario, and Aiden Garcia. So, I mean, we know they tend to pit right around that 20-minute mark, give or take. I know pit stops do vary based on tracks. Some tracks choose tires more than others. When I think track absolutely send tires to the junkyard, I think of Barcelona. That track absolutely destroys front tires. Doesn't matter what car category you're driving in. But yeah, so I mean, like I said, there's a really good pit stop. So timing is going to be absolutely crucial for these top 3 here in today's race. We see, I believe, that's Eric Mack getting through I think lap traffic, a lap GT car. Now he's coming up to the back one of the GT forces. That is Benjamin Bechtel. And I'm not gonna lie, I spent probably about a good 10 minutes before we got started here, as Eric Mack just slingshot himself around the Porsche. I spent about probably 10 minutes trying to make sure I had these pronunciations down pat for these names, because like you said, sometimes names are hard, especially for us Americans.
That they are. 22 minutes left to go, and I'm still shocked that we have not seen the pit stops come through yet for these race leaders. Why they're still out, I don't know. Obviously, they have a strategy that I don't, so they continue to run through, and we'll watch them keep pushing and challenging here accordingly. Will this be the time that Eric Mack decides to pit? Well, we're on board with him, so that would probably, of course, end up being the way that he does things here. He dives through. Will he take the hard right into pit lane? No, he's going to stay out for another lap, and while he's out for at least one more lap, we're going to go to temporarily loud engines. Enjoy your lap around here with the GTP of, yeah, we'll stay on board with the race leader, Eric Mack. I don't see anyone into the pits here at the moment that will affect things. So, yeah, we'll ride on board with the race leader and enjoy your temporarily loud engines. We'll be right back in just a moment. Well, I could have called that one that Eric Mack was going to pull Return of the Mack and come into the pits because, well, the last lap, as soon as we cut, Druzario, Aiden Garcia were into the pits. So with that on board, all of your onboards, every camera angle you've seen tonight has been brought to you courtesy of Whiplash SimCam. So if you're interested in getting the most out of your broadcast, your productions, or even you just enjoy watching iRacing sometimes, going back and reliving the glory days of when you got your only win in the service in 2022, I'm calling somebody out in that. You can always enjoy Whiplash SimCam Productions for that. And if you're interested in that, just reach out to them on any of their social media and get in touch. While we were on that little Whiplash SimCam production moment, some things that developed again, Druzario, Aiden Garcia into the pits and going through. And then, of course, Colin Bordon, Ethan Murphy, Cody Perodato into the pits. Tyler Stenick was into the pits, and that re-inherited the lead to Ian Tanzius. Oh, that was a spin right in front. And who was that sitting stationary? I believe that was Christian Cardona, who we're going to go find out exactly what in the crap just happened to him, because that scared me.
I'm also seeing... Actually, no, never mind. They're in the pits. Ignore that. But yeah, this is going to be... Let's see what just happened here. I think he just lost it. He just carried way too much speed going through the final corner here on this track and just gave it too much beans for his beans and toast and just spun it. And, he plowed straight into the wall. A few seconds from now, yep, there is Ian. And, that's a very risky rejoin there. I'm sure Ian Tanzius had a massive code brown there, because that was, the safety car was not very safe there.
Let's hop on board with Tanzius here because I want to see what he saw for this. So let's get a good camera angle if we can, and we'll go right here. We'll go a little bit further back. So this is him coming through the final corner, and now he's going to be gunning it through turn one, and yep, there's a car in front of you.
Yeah, that's certainly a code brown moment there for Ian Tanzius there. I'm sure there was probably some sort of, I would imagine honestly just like a straight scream, like no words, just a scream of just pure terror. Because I know that's what I would have done if I saw a McLaren just pull out right in front of me that's recently spun. Probably would have damaged the eardrums of whoever I was in a Discord chat or PlayStation chat or whatever chat I was in. Probably would have damaged someone's eardrums there, but luckily there was no additional car damage there, as we see a few cars run into the gravel there.
This battle here, as we cut through, this is Colin Borden, Brian Medderly, and Martin Merkfa that are battling it out here in GTP. Not GTP Pro, GT3 Pro for P7, 8, and 9 respectively that we are watching really give the push through, and as they go through Maggots and Beckett's, just kind of see what happens with them. And am I pronouncing Brian's name right? They gave us the pronunciation sheet, and I'm still second guessing myself here.
I think, at least because I wrote this stuff down, it's Murterly is what I have in my notes for Brian here, the number 46. And I remember, like, last time I was here for Portimao, that was the name. I think that was the name I struggled on the most. I was definitely a VIP passenger on the struggle bus when it came to pronouncing that name. So, once again, I really do appreciate the drivers giving us the pronunciation guides, because it really helped us out a lot.
For sure. And Zach Nerney here still battling with Matt Toppin, separated by about 0.7 of a second as they head down the Wellington Straight here, down towards Brooklands and Luffield, and still continuing to challenge things through and try to find something. Gap comes down to 0.5 a second, but it's going to, of course, kind of accordion back and forth. Matt Toppin needs to really try to find that strong battle where he can to get the pass done. He's doing a good job of continuing to apply pressure, but it just doesn't seem like he's getting the pass done at the right time. Just in front of them there, that is Ethan Murphy and Cody Perodato that are battling it out by about 0.3 of a second, separating them, keeping the challenge on as it goes. 15 minutes left to go in this race. If you're a driver here, Patrick, what are you thinking? What are you doing? What is your game plan on the night?
Obviously trying to make up as many positions as possible, but most importantly, survive. Just don't do anything stupid. Just try to keep that consistency up. Try to make sure your car stays off the grass, off the gravel, and obviously don't rear end or get rear-ended. I know the first one is easier to do than the second one. But yeah, I think especially like if I was Eric Mack, the driver, or even Ian Tansius, the drivers in the lead of the GTP and GT3 Pro respectively, I would just try to do what I can to just keep a cool head and just say it's not over till it's over, as a very famous race car driver once said. To finish first you must finish. And I think just surviving without any major incident that's what would be on my mind in this situation.
I think that's a great philosophy to have here. Looking at some of the most gained positions here, our top 5 on the night: Dwayne Hoffman up 6, Christopher Ondera up 5, Colin Bourdon up 5, Tyler Stenick up 3, and Chris Stewart up 3 positions. So this has been a challenging race, I would say, for all involved on the night. No surprise to me, no surprise to anyone just how challenging this race has been, because it is Silverstone, and Silverstone of course can be difficult in more ways than one. As we go through here, still watching Peridotto try to chase down Ethan Murphy as they go around and around and around they go. Where they stop, well, they'll stop at the end of the next 13 minutes of racing here. About 8 laps left to go when it's all said and done. I want to check in with our race leader here in GTP because, well, we haven't talked about him a lot. And then the words of Corey Silva here on PTR TV, usually when you don't talk about the leader, it's a very good day for the leader. 21.5 seconds currently has Eric Mack in the lead. Behind him is Drew Zario in that 860, significantly back again after some major damage early on. Aiden Garcia in 3rd, Zach Nerney in 4th, battling it out with Matt Toppin for 5th place, with Wyatt Kennedy a further 20 seconds behind them. Matt Toppin has now also earned a black flag, so that is not going to be ideal for Matt Toppin. That is going to kind of knock his race a couple tiers down. We'll see what happens for him. Ben Bechtel a bit further back, and then Dwight Hibbs a bit further there, and Bob Carey currently showing in last place, trying to battle things through. Yeah, Eric Mack. I mean, what is there to say about Eric Mack? Let's be honest, other than Eric Mack has had just an absolute ridiculous race tonight.
I mean, you can even say that just about his entire season right now. I mean, he has been awesome here. This would be his 3rd win in a row if he could keep it going. We did see it go into a bit of jeopardy, though, in Hockenheim when he collided with a Porsche and turned into a Beyblade momentarily. So anything can happen here in racing. It's not over till the checker flag waves. So, but yeah, I 100% agree. Eric Mack has had a really excellent race here today. Very magnificent, if you will. As soon as that incident happened with Drew Zario, I mean, he was gone in probably a little bit more than 60 seconds, but he was just gone, out of sight, out of mind. But yeah, it's been a really good race for the BMW driver. Ooh.
I was going to say, jumping into this battle, Paul Nye and Patrick Rich, they were on my radar there. And then, well, I think your ooh kind of summarizes what just happened. I think Patrick Rich, unfortunately, just dropping out of contention for this battle, will continue to lose pace. We still have Peridotto chasing down Ethan Murphy here in the GT3 Pro category with about 10 minutes to go here. Here is how GT3 Pro runs down. Patrick with Ian Tansius in the lead, Ethan Murphy 2nd, Cody Peridotto 3rd. So that battle for 2nd and 3rd in the GT3 Pro category is still not done.
Oh yeah, no, it's not. It's still going very strong here. I mean, I know Ian is, he's quite a ways away, but the battle between Murphy and Peridotto has just been going on for so long. It's been like one of the longest battles in the entirety of this race here at Silverstone. It's really entertaining to watch. Now that we see the GTP car get out of the way and go ahead and slingshot ahead, now we're going to go ahead and see the battle here between Ian Murphy and Cody Peridotto just continue once again. It's been a really entertaining battle. Both of these drivers giving it everything they got. Less than a second separates the Lamborghini and the Porsche, and it's really, really fun to watch. These two drivers keeping it clean, being respectful, but still giving it a hard charge.
Yeah, that's the best thing you can do from there. It's Tyler Stenick, another 20 seconds back. Chris Stewart, a few seconds behind that. And then Panaro, Burdon, Merkva, Material, Paul Nye Sr., Patrick Rich, and Hunter Hoffman, your 12 GT3 pros. And then I want to make sure that I show some love to the GT3 AMs here. I don't feel like we've talked about them too much tonight either, so let's make sure we show them a little bit of love while we can. Nathan Hemperly in the lead here with Thomas Baker 1.6 behind. You see him there just in the background in the Acura, or the Acura, as the Brits would like to call it. Christopher Ondera, Chiapuzio, Vasselman, Hoffman, Pools, Tebow, Perrin, Blake, Cardona, O'Neill, and O'Grady are your GT3 AM drivers here, with plenty of battles still to be found, plenty of time still to be found from everyone here. 8 minutes, 45 seconds left to go, and this is the point where, well, if you haven't taken the gloves off, you better be taking them, throwing them to the side, and really trying to get some pace out of your car for the final few minutes. Find those final positions while you can, and try to get this thing to the end.
I don't think I ever want to hear anyone call it an Acura ever again. But talking about more relevant topics here, yeah, I mean, you really want to make up these positions here in these final 8 minutes here. And I mean, especially if you're Thomas Baker, who is like less than a second behind the GT AM leader of Nathan Hemperly. And I mean, this is going to be a battle that's probably going to come down to the very final minute here. And I mean, it's always awesome that you see really good racing regardless of what category we have here on Elbows Out Racing. It's just because, I mean, we're seeing some really good driving here from the GT AMs, from the GT Pros, the GTPs. I mean, just excellent battles up and down the field. And this battle for the lead here in the GT3 AM category is definitely one of those very entertaining battles we have seen here on the night. And I love this camera. It's a good view of the Porsche and the lurking Acura of Thomas Baker behind. Nathan is extending that gap though, but he does lose it, I think, a little bit in these corners is where Nathan Hemperly is kind of losing time, but he is kind of gaining it on some of these straights. Or it might just be that Thomas Baker is getting a bit of a better exit. And I think that actually might be the case, because I'm noticing that, like, at least in these last few corners, Nathan Hemperly has gone a bit wide. So maybe Thomas Baker might have better tire life compared to the number 12 Porsche up ahead.
Yeah, I think he's in a decent position here. We'll see. It's 1 lap difference between the two, but Nathan did pit that 1 lap later, which can make the difference as our race leader, Eric Mack, returns back around yet again, goes around the outside and sends it through. This battle for first in GT3 AM is not sorted, not done, not dusted. And as you said, we'll go all the way to the end of the race. 6.5 minutes left to go here in this race tonight here for Elbows Out, round number 4 here at Silverstone. And if you're wondering about what the rest of the season has to behold, well, we can definitely fill you in on that. So from this season, from this round, next week will be Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, with a 60-minute race in the day. And then April 24th might be the one that I'm most looking forward to. It's Daytona International Speedway, nighttime. I am really looking forward to seeing how that race turns out. From there, it's Monza, and then on the 8th of May, we're of course going to run the Le Mans run, and then it's Brazil, Interlagos on May 15th. Then we get to May 22nd for the Indy Road Course, then Zandvoort, and we end things with a 90-minute run on June 5th at the Nürburgring, which I'm really excited to see how the drivers handle the Nürburgring. It's going to be really fun to see how that season finale goes, but of course, still plenty of weeks before we get there. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, please be sure to do so here. Everything you can do to help support the channel, we appreciate it. We're on the goal for 1,600 subscribers before the end of April, and really, we're well on pace for it. Just need a little bit of help to get the rest of the way there. Ethan Murphy still under pressure by Cody Peridotto with 5 minutes left to go, and watching that battle. And then I do want to jump back here to Daniel Pinero, because I mean, this is a gaggle of cars behind Daniel Pinero that are absolutely trying to chase him down. You've got Christopher Ondera, Colin Borden, Chiapuzio, Merkva, Vasselman. Actually, no, it ends with Merkva. that is trying to chase him down. This is all mixed class racing happening behind and around as they go. And I mean, just look at the sea of cars here as Merkva is getting his pass done up into P20 overall and is now going to get passed back.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it's very good racing from these drivers. I mean, obviously the pack racing isn't the easiest thing to do on the planet. And I mean, we saw pack racing earlier on and it just kind of ended in chaos. The incident that set Drew Zerio back to begin with. So luckily, we're glad to see that obviously the drivers made it through safely that time around. And also that the GTP car got through without getting sent to the shuttle room, essentially. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's really good driving here. And the thing I like about having two different GT3 categories here at Elbows Out is that despite the fact they're racing in two separate categories, they are in essentially equal machinery. So the battles here can be equally spicy for all these drivers here in the GT3 categories, whether you're in the Pro category or the AM category. It's really fun to watch. You see some really, really entertaining battles, and that's just why I love multi-class racing in general.
I 100% agree with you on everything there. Really, the big difference between GT3 Pro and AM is one, experience with the league, and two, pace in the car. And when you have those differences coming up, I mean, it sets up for some really fun stuff. I want to jump back here because look what has happened to the gap between Hemperly and Baker. Half a second separating them. This is the fight for GT3 AM win with 3 minutes left to go. Just maybe 2 laps left to go for these two. They are separated by half a second. And what is going to happen here? Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if I would look away if I was you. This is going to be such a challenging run to the end. Really, it's all going to be about just who doesn't make a mistake here between these two.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the drivers are like, their heart rates are going, their engines are going, and I mean, they're feeling the adrenaline now, especially if you're Thomas Baker. You are so close to that race win here in the GTM category, and it's within touching distance, so he's going to really give it his all here to try to make sure that he can go ahead and get that move done. But Nathan Hemperly has had a really solid drive there in the lead of this category, so it's going to be really, really tricky. You really only got about 2-ish laps, maybe 1 or 2 laps left of this race to really make it happen. So it's make or break here for Thomas Baker. If he wants to go ahead and get this pass done, he's going to make the run down the hangar straight now going into Stowe. He's going to close that gap, but not enough to really make anything happen. Actually, he lost quite a bit of time there going into Stowe, so I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but he closed that gap up again. So it's really interesting to see this gap kind of ebb and flow as this race closes or comes to a close here.
Yeah, the first and third sector seem to really be where he has the pace, but that middle sector, he's losing a lot of time to the Porsche. Gap now up to 0.8 of a second. I want to jump back up here with Ethan Murphy and Cody Perodato because they just had Ben Bechtel go through, and I think that's going to give them a little bit of opportunity to try to fight each other for P2 in GT3 Pro, and we'll see where the battle goes for them as they come through. And right now, well, it looks like they're separated by just about half a second, keeping things moving and grooving. Martin Merkva has had to come into the pits to serve a penalty. And then also Parker Chapuzio has had to go in as well. Zach Tebow has a penalty. So lots of penalties being given out here. Colin Bourdon has picked up a penalty. So lots of drivers kind of losing out here in the end on penalties as it stands. And that is not going to be good for any of them. Gap in GT3 AM, by the way, has opened up to about 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, and I can promise you a majority of those penalties, if not all the penalties, are for track limits. I mean, we saw quite a bit. A lot of cars just carried too much momentum into a corner, and it just slingshots them off track, off the track limits. You do that too many times, you get a penalty for your troubles. So, yeah, it's really unfortunate. You can have a really solid race, but if you just send it wide one too many times, it really kind of puts a damper in your race. But, I mean, so far it's been a pretty good drive from all the leaders here in these categories. It is the final lap, so the white flag has been waved. And the driver you're on board with, Eric Mack, has had a fantastic race here. at Silverstone. He will take the championship lead more than certainly here. All he's got to do is cross the line. I mean, ever since the incident earlier on involving Drew Zario, he pretty much just sailed away with this win here at Silverstone. He's just got only a few more corners left to navigate. He does have a Porsche safety car to get past. But yep, it's pretty much just home stretch now. Onto, oh sorry, not quite home stretch. Jumped the gun a little bit there, but yeah, it's been a really good race here for Eric Mack.
Eric Mack currently 3 points behind Matt Toppin in the standings here. 2 poles, 2 wins, 2 top 5s in 3 starts. So very clearly, Eric Mack has something in that car that we don't know about. That BMW has worked very well for him on the season here as he goes down the Wellington Straight here. It's Eric Mack with the return of the Mack when it's said and done, and he's going to return this BMW into victory lane. Just 2 final corners to go here in Silverstone, and after 60 minutes of chaos, 60 minutes of action, and just opportunity striking early when it needed to be, Eric Mack is going to be your winner here in round 4 of Elbows Out Racing after 60 minutes, and he will bring home the 3rd win in 4 races here at Silverstone. Crosses the line. Great run there by 30 seconds, the gap on Drew Zario.
Yeah, that was a really good run there from Eric Mack. Magnificent drive from the BMW. And yeah, I mean, unfortunate for Drew Zario. But I do want to wonder what happened between Hempley and Baker, because now they swapped positions and that gap is up to 3 seconds now. So I wonder what happened there for that battle for the lead in the GTM class. But in the GT Pro class now, we have Ian Tanzius coming across the line to take the checkered flag. He is your category winner in the GT3 Pro category. And that was a very well-driven race from him as well. But I think, and Thomas Baker looks like he is going to win in the GT Am category. I'm just curious on what happened there between himself and Nathan Hemperly.
See if I can find it here. So after the race, I've got the replay queued up, so we can certainly take a look here and see how it goes. But GT3 Am, well, Thomas Baker, great run there, past Hemperly just a few seconds back, and now we'll bring things through. Great runs from everyone, and well, we want to see what happened with Thomas Baker and Hemperly. Well, I'll queue up a very quick replay here and see if we can get an idea of what happened with them. So looks like Hemperly was driving a little bit slow here. This is coming into into Cop's Corner, and he lost it through Cop's Corner, kept it out of the gravel, but yeah, I mean, there was no saving that at that point. That was the pass that made the difference.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's what happened, and that's how Thomas Baker ended up getting that win. I mean, he's going to be happy about it, but I know Nathan Hemperly is going to be just so heartbroken there. The win was in his grasp, but just fell away at the last moment.
That he will, as we have our drivers doing their in laps at the moment, getting things through, done and dusted. It's been such a great race, but of course, this race must come to an end. So let's go down and let's get queued up these final results for the night. And well, where it stands on the night, GTP. After 33 laps, it is Eric Mack that brings home the victory. Return of the Mack. And then it's Drew Zario in second, Aiden Garcia in third, Zach Nerney in fourth, Wyatt Kennedy in fifth, Ben Bechtel in sixth, Matt Toppin seventh, Dwight Hibbs, Bob Harry. And that is your 9 drivers in GTP. GT3 Pro, Ian Tanzius, Ethan Murphy, Tyler Stennett, Chris Stewart, Daniel Pinero, Cody Herodato, Brian Metterly, and then Colin Bourdon, Paul Nye Sr., Patrick Rich. From there, it was Martin Merkfa and Hunter Hoffman in GT3 Pro. GT3 Am, how it ended up was Thomas Baker, Nathan Hemperly, Christopher Ondera, Seth Vosselman, Dwayne Hoffman, Lamar Pools, Parker Chapuzio. Gotta make sure I say his name right, man. That's gonna be a practice one for next week. Zach Tebow, Joshua Perrin, Christian Cardona, and then Lucas Blake, Trevor O'Neill, Kyle O'Grady, and Matthew Santerciero, who did not actually take the race start after some PC issues. So that is where all of your drivers end up when it's all said and done. That should mix up the standings pretty significantly when it's all said and done. But I tell you what, for round 4, surely delivered.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, it's Silverstone. You always expect it to deliver, and it certainly did here today. Excellent battles in all 3 classes, and I really don't think you could have asked for much more here today.
I certainly wouldn't have asked for any more. It was so much fun. Get to watch these cars run around Silverstone. Big thank you to Elbows Out, as always, for having us involved in the league. Absolutely love getting to bring their multi-class series to the big screen. And also, big shout out to everyone here who has been watching and following through the race. Thank you all for being here as well. And make sure to remember to like and subscribe. But tell you what, Patrick, I think this is where we're going to send this one off. On behalf of Mr. Patrick Coleman, who's been beside me in the booth, my name is Brad Dalton. Be sure to tune into the next stream here on PTR TV, which will be the doubleheader tomorrow night on Thursday night. It's Red Sox Racing League, and also it is the Area Xfinity Pro Series. So be sure to check them out. Next week here on the channel is a little bit of a light week. We'll have Monday night at Sim 500 at Bristol, and then Wednesday next week, as we discussed previously. But to get to those, we got to end this broadcast. So on behalf of Patrick, my name is Brad. We've taken you from start to finish. Be sure to join us next week, where we'll take you start to finish yet again. Good night.